Okay, so we had created several components, right, for different types of questions, and each one will have its own user interface, right? For instance, the essay component renders its user interface as just a simple text area, right? So that we can type in our essay answer, right? So we need to be able to bind that. We need to be able to bind it and say that this is a model. So it will be an ng model. So ng model, where we bind to a variable. Where do we bind it? Where do we bind it? Well, we could bind it to the actual question object that is being passed to us, right? The question says, well, here's the question, right? Well, I'm going to bind to that object. I'm going to bind another variable. I'm going to add another attribute to that, another property. And I'm going to call it, so as part of the question, this will be my essay answer. Remember that in JavaScript, you can generate fields on the fly, right? In this particular case, we are generating a field called essay answer, and it'll be bound to whatever I type in that text area. Okay. And just to verify that we are binding it, we can render it right below it, essay answer. So we are binding it. We are actually binding it to that variable, and we like to be able to maybe collect it, as when we perhaps submit it, right? Make sure that the object that we have, right? That the question object, the entire quiz, right? That particular question has an answer for that particular question, right? So to do that, let's try that by perhaps providing here like a submit button, right? And when we click on that submit button, we'd like to see, right, if we actually have that answer in the quiz as part of that quiz, so that we would perhaps be able to extract all those answers, maybe create a submit object, and then maybe we can post a submit to a quiz submission, right? So let's just add here a button here to submit our answer to our quiz, right? So let's go back to our quiz taker, right? And here in the quiz title, perhaps, right, we could maybe add a button where we can submit our answers to our quiz. So we can say button, click, and this will be submit quiz. Right, and the quiz, and this is submit, and we can paint this a little bit prettier and say class, this is button primary, oops, right, something like that. Maybe float it to the right. There it is, submit. Okay. And then in the quiz taker component, there it is, we can handle that. We can handle the submit. So this would be submit quiz. And here's the quiz as an argument. And for now, let's do a console log quiz. Let's just see what's in that quiz when we submit it. We're making sure that, let's see if we have that answer. So let's do that. Let's go here. And let's type an answer. Let's put this on the right-hand side. Let's go to the console. And if we say, this is our final answer. And when we submit, notice that indeed we're passing that around. And we can see the object in here. And we can peruse through each one of the questions. And we're interested in that first question that was rendered. There it is. There it is. There's my essay answer. See that? Right. So I could iterate over these questions, extract each one of those answers, right, and build a submit object that we can then post it to the server, so that we can then say that this particular user, right, answered these particular answers for this particular question for that particular quiz, right? And we can do that next. But first, I'd like to spend some time on some of the other user interfaces for some of the other quizzes, for the other questions. Let's take a look at that next.